Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando, that's Corey, and today we are doing 2019's Booksmart. Before we get started, if you want to follow us on Patreon for a ton of exclusive content and merch and all kinds of cool stuff, we even have a free option now. So if you want to subscribe on Patreon, go over there. We'll have clips of the movies. It's ad-free. You can subscribe for free, if I can say that word. But yeah, so we have a bunch of free options from free to paid, different tiers of paid. But come over, say hello, and join us over on Patreon. And let's get into the cast of 2019's Booksmart. This film stars Kaitlyn Dever as Amy, Beanie Feldstein as Molly, Jessica Williams as Miss Fine, Jason Sudeikis as Principal Brown, Lisa Kudrow as Charmaine, and Will Forte as Doug. Oh, but let's get into this one. So this movie opens with Amy picking up Molly for school, but not before they get their dance on. They have a little dance party in Molly's front yard area before they actually go to school.
It's so awesome. And I know, look, this movie is rightfully so compared to Superbad.
Yes.
Not only because Beanie and Jonah Hill are brother and sister, but just because this is basically the teenage female version of Superbad.
Yeah.
And if that's not apparent to you when they start dancing and compared to the opening credits of Superbad where they're dancing,
yep,
you're not paying attention to life.
Yeah, exactly. But the best thing is, so they get to school and it's the last day of school, and their school in the hallways, and this is why I love movies like this. Mm-hmm. Their school is literally complete chaos in the hallway. And they're not what people would typically call popular. They're both attending Ivy League schools in the fall. Amy reveals that she's going to Botswana to help women make their own tampons.
Yeah, Amy's spending the summer in Botswana helping women make their own tampons.
That's gross.
It's awesome, because they could have written this in any way. Like, oh, we're going to build homes for blah, 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 and made it like more serious. But the fact that they went with, and I would love to have been in the writer's room for this one, where it's like, okay, she's going to Botswana. For what? For what? Anybody? And somebody just goes, tampons? She's helping people make their own tampons.
And the fact that she's doing it, she says, because the lions can smell the blood. So she's actually helping to save lives. Is fucking hilarious.
It's great. It's absolutely great.
It's so funny. This is the typical, hyperbolized high school teenage liberalism. Just run amok.
Yes, absolutely.
We know everything. Everybody's stupid and they fuck the world up. We got to fix it. And we're going to start with tampons in Botswana.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and we also see here that Amy has a crush on a girl named Ryan. Mm-hmm. Molly convinces her to actually go over and talk to her. She does. It's super awkward as fuck. But Ryan invites Amy to Nick, the jock's party. And this is after this scene. And I always love these really awkward, oh, I got a crush and now you got to go talk to him. Because there's probably a small handful of people in high school that actually had enough confidence to just go up and talk to whoever. By and large, most high school kids are like, oh, I got a crush on this person. And then you go and talk, and it doesn't matter what it sounds like in your head. The minute it comes out of your mouth, everything's awkward and stupid, and you fail 90% of the time.
Yeah. Every girl I actually spoke to that I actually had a crush on couldn't talk to him.
No, it goes poorly every single time.
Could not talk to him. I had a crush on a teacher in high school. This redhead little minx named Mrs. Malcor. You can look me up still, squirrel.
She's 75 now.
I don't give a fuck. Bucket list, bro. Bucket list stuff. But yeah, like, she used to fuck with me because everybody basically ratted me out that I had a crush on her. So she used to like, "Where's my Valentine's Day gift, Corey?" Huh? And I would just be like, For all I know, I could have been like Ike Brozlowski, just pounding teachers out. Fucked it up.
You did. You screwed that whole thing up. But Molly here, after this whole scene with Ryan, Molly goes to the bathroom. She's in the stall and she hears her classmates talking shit about her while she's in the stall. She walks out, talks shit to them about, her going to Yale and them being just burnouts and, their lives are going to be shit. And her classmates reveal to her that they're all going to great colleges. The one kid is coding for Google in the fall. He's like, I'm not going to college. I'm going to be coding for Google in the fall. And this kind of sends her into this rage where she goes out into the hallways and she's just asking everybody where they're going to college. And everybody, like Nick the jock, he's going to fucking Georgetown. And this sets off the whole premise of this movie. But
yep, and this was a great turn too, because most of it is like, oh, we're nerdy versions, we got to get laid, or like, we studied so hard and now we're going, but everybody is still a burnout. This is such a great turn here in the bathroom where everybody's like, yeah, I'm going to fuck. Like the slutty girl is going to Yale, or right along with Molly, who she fucking, like, they hate each other.
Yes.
And she's like, yeah, I'm fucking going to Yale too. But I was also handing out blowies like it's nobody's business. And just like the whole turn of events, because usually the other people are like, she kind of got us. You know what I mean? And no, they're able to party and still do that.
Yeah, I love this because, again, to your point, a lot of these high school comedies, coming of age type movies, it's typically the guys, and it's typically like, we got to get laid before graduation, which I don't know why we're putting an expiration date on it, or like a gold day, like by the end of the summer I need to get laid,
right?
But I do like the turn of, we decided freshman year, whenever the fuck, that we were just going to study. We're both going to get into Ivy League schools, and everything was going to be about school and homework and getting good grades and yada, yada. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, other people too. And they could also party, but they cared about school too. Like, I just like that, how that's all laid out.
100%. You're subverting the stereotypes of a typical high school raunchy comedy.
Yep, exactly. And by the way, the dude, Theo, who is going to be coding for Google, Eduardo Franco, dude, I love that guy in everything he's in. Like, every movie I've seen him in, he's absolutely fantastic.
Yep. Kills it.
But so after Molly has this panic attack and finds out how many of the popular kids are going to great colleges, her and Amy have this talk where basically Molly's like, hey, we need to party. So we got to go to Nick's aunt's house, who, he's throwing this huge party the night before graduation. And so that they're not so one-dimensional.
Yep.
But they have to lie to Amy's parents so they can go to Nick's party. And Lisa Kudrow and Will Forte are, they crush this role as the parents, like the Christian parents, but are also accepting of their gay daughter. Like, that whole premise and the way that they're written and the way that they act it all out is fucking brilliant.
And Molly fucking with the parents and fucking with Amy, like grabbing her boobs, and like, you never forget your first time and all this wild shit.
It's
so funny. And Will Forte naming all the dishes based around the graduation.
Yes.
Like the mushroom caps and gowns.
We made special names for all this stuff. Chips and salsa in high school. Cheese and salami, me being your dad. Everything has a name. I love my baby girl. Yeah. It's all of us.
Dude, just this whole scene is just perfect.
They're only in it for like Lisa Kudrow and Will Forte are only in it for a very brief amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But the scenes we talk about like scene stealers. They do such a good job. Like you're just so focused on them. They steal those scenes that they're in. They're
100%.
fucking great. But they soon realize, Amy and Molly, that they don't have the address to Nick's party.
Mm-hmm.
So they call their rich classmate Jared, who
I love him,
really likes Molly and like they're friends, but he picks them up in his like Trans Am and takes them to the party, which isn't Nick's party. It's his party on this giant fucking yacht. And there's nobody there except for Gigi's coked out friend, or Jared's coked out friend, Gigi.
And she is amazing in this scene. And just basically adopts Amy as her best friend. Which I love that just carries on throughout the rest of the movie.
Yep.
Gigi's just always so excited to see Amy. And it's like they've never spoken once to each other.
And she's like, we're totally the same. And it's like, we're not the same at all.
We're not the same.
Dude,
and this
Billy
is also
Lord,
where Gigi shoves the strawberries in their mouth.
Yes. Yep. That's laced with drugs, we find out later.
Yep.
No, Billy Lord, I love her in everything she's in, but she crushes this Gigi character. It's perfect. And the fact that every single party that they go throughout the night, she just like pops up. Because here on the yacht, she's just like, fuck it, and jumps off the yacht into the water. And then they leave Jared's party, and they call this lift.
And if I can, real quick, just to interrupt you, because I think this is a good point for this. Whatever we did Olivia Wilde's latest movie, the Shush, I'm a Feminist, Don't Eat My Pussy, whatever that fucking movie was, that I destroyed her in that film. I will give her a lot of credit for directing this movie. Oh, it's the simple fact that you take an actress or an actor like Billy Lord, and you put her in this ridiculous situation as a character where you're jumping off boats, you're popping up. Like, her character is nowhere based in any reality in this movie. It's ludicrous.
Yes.
And so to be able to take an actor or actress like Billy Lord, who's that talented, and for them to have that much trust in you, to be like, oh, I'm diving off the yacht now? Sure, that makes sense. Fucking yay! And to throw her full fucking weight into a role like that, that's a testament to Olivia Wilde as a director. I will give her that.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Her actors clearly had all the trust in the world for what she was doing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Olivia Wilde did a fantastic job with this movie. And I didn't even realize that she directed this until well after I watched it originally. So
I made sure to research it because I make sure I know everything about those that I dislike.
But so the girls here, they leave Jared's party. They call a lift. They're picked up by their principal, Jordan Brown, played by Jason Sudeikis. The whole lift ride, first of all, is absolutely fantastic. They get the address to the party, and it turns out to be their like drama classmates murder mystery party.
These two are my favorite characters in this.
Yes,
these are the two greatest gay guys in the history of film.
Yes,
the main dude with the glasses. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know his name as I should. He is so serious and is such a bitchy little queen. I fucking ate every scene he was in. And then his partner or friend in the movie, whatever their connection was, who was also in that Netflix show. What was it called? Daybreak or something? About the zombies?
Yep. Yeah, I think it was
like
Daybreak.
All the teachers turned into the zombies and all the student factions are broken up, whatever. He's like this gay samurai running around. But dude, they are fantastic in this movie. And as you brought up with Lisa Kudrow and Will Forte being scene stealers, every scene they're in, even at the end when they're giving the graduation speech, they steal it.
Yes, they absolutely do. Noah Galvin is the dude with the glasses, I think.
Thank you.
That's his name. But yeah, they're both fantastic. The girls also see Gigi at the party, who is completely dry now, is dressed in whatever garb for the murder mystery party, and is in character already. Full character when
upstairs, changed into an outfit, crying over a dead body.
Yes.
As the mayor.
Yes, and
it's so ridiculous.
She tells them here that the strawberries that she fed them on the yacht were laced with drugs, and they start tripping balls here, which I thought was a good, I don't know, like a good departure from the actual movie, because now they're like little Barbie dolls, and they're having this conversation, and they get naked, and they're like in the mirror, and they're doing the whole thing. And then they're like, fuck, we're tripping balls. We got to leave. And them to the transition from the Barbies, the transition from the Barbies to them walking out, and they're doing like the little Barbie walk, and they're on their tiptoes.
Molly going, fuck you, George.
Fuck you, George.
Just, dude.
It's so good. It's so good.
This movie is so unbelievably funny. It's so good.
It really is. It really is. That whole scene, again, them walking out is absolutely great. Mm-hmm. And they figure out how to get to Nick's party now, because they've basically been stalking the party online, and they track it down by the pizza delivery guy who delivers the pizzas.
Another great scene.
Yep. And so they get in the thing. And that was the funny part about this scene is, the pizza delivery guy gets into his car. They're in the back seat, and they don't have masks or anything. They tie their hair around. He was like, "Are you using your hair as a mask? Like, that's what you're doing?" He's like, "I'm a grown fucking man."
It's so fucking funny. Like, do you even have a weapon? Because I do.
I keep that to protect myself from bad people. Something you guys should be thinking about.
So they're stranded at the pizza joint. Mm-hmm. They call Miss Fine, one of their teachers, who picks them up, drives them to Nick's party, and gives them clothes to wear, because they both, I don't even know what they're wearing at this point, because they both have like Michael Myers like jumpsuits on.
The jumpsuits with the mismatching ascots and the berets they started out with. Oh my God. I love these girls so much.
Yeah.
And here's why. Here's what terrified me about this. Had I had a daughter, that's what they would have both ended up like that. Those would have been my kids.
Dude, and Jessica Williams as Miss Fine, again, is fantastic. She's that typical younger teacher who's like, it looks like she's maybe just out of college, a few years into actually teaching. So she still kind of thinks like she's cool and wants to like hang out with the younger kids, whatever. But she like takes them to the party, and the best is when they pull up and they get out. And she's like, "Oh, wouldn't it be so funny if I got that? Like, that would be crazy if I walked into the party."
Imagine if I did though. Like, imagine if I like just went in. That'd be weird, right? Anyway,
they go in, and then like a couple of scenes later, you actually see her walk into the party.
And she sat. I know there's a director's cut somewhere of like a scene of her just sitting in the car, being like, "Don't go into that party." Like, you can't go into this party. I'm like, no, they graduated. It's fine. No, you can't go. Like, just this total back and forth between herself and then her just going, fuck it, and actually changing her clothes, which she does.
Yes.
To go into the party. She's great in this movie, too. Jessica Williams is hilarious. She's awesome.
She's awesome. No, she's absolutely awesome. But so after they get into the party, Amy hangs out with Ryan because she's got a crush on Ryan. Molly finally admits that she actually has a crush on Nick, so she starts hanging out with Nick. both of them completely loosen up and manage to have a great time until Amy goes into the pool and she sees Nick and Ryan making out in the pool.
Dude, this was, and credit to Amy, the actor playing Amy. She does such a good job with this because this is fucking heartbreaking.
Yes.
And this is why. Everybody's been there.
Yep.
I don't care what your sexual preference is, where you are in the alphabet. You have been in a situation where you have a crush on somebody. You finally worked up the nerve. You're hanging out with them. Things are going so well.
Yep.
And then just fucking asteroid drops and they're making out with somebody.
Yep. No, it's fucking heartbreaking. And what I really liked about this was how accepting everybody was when they get to the party, because they're the nerds, they're the Booksmart people that don't party, that don't. So as soon as they come in and everybody's like, "Oh shit, come in, you're drinking with me, have a drink," like, and they're immediately like in the crew now because they're like, "Oh, you can loosen up, fucking dope."
Yeah.
And now they're all like, they're part of the party. There's no like, "Oh, the fucking nerds are here." There's like none of that. No. So I dig all that. And they don't go overboard either with the hanging out where they're trying too hard.
Yeah, they don't get like super shit-faced
Yeah. So I really dug all of that about this scene when they actually get to the party.
Yep.
But after Amy sees Nick and Ryan making out in the pool, she goes to Molly. She wants to leave. But Molly says no because she's still waiting for Nick to come back. Amy obviously doesn't tell her about that she saw Nick and Ryan making out. So they argue very loudly as people at the party are all recording on their phones, which couldn't be more true to life. Like you see one of these fights and everybody's got their fucking phones out and recording.
Yeah, this fight's also fucking heartbreaking too because you know the information that Amy knows.
Yeah.
And so you're on team Amy with like, Molly, just go. Like, she's trying to save you from this heartbreak. Yeah. And she even calls Malala, which is another fucking hilarious point. When they call Malala, you have to fucking give in. And you only get one a year. So for her to call that, and Molly's like, "No, dude, fuck you. Like, I've had a couple drinks now. I'm partying with my friend." And Molly being a control freak. This fight is so epic and it's so heartbreaking, especially, and this is another tip to the cap to Olivia Wilde here, not having all the audio and just seeing them argue in slow-mo and seeing Molly say "fuck you" to Amy. Yeah. So mean.
Yeah.
It's just, dude, it's devastating.
No, it is. And after this fight, because obviously it's a big thing with them, they've been best friends since they were kids. Amy she like runs to the bathroom. She sees Hope, one of her classmates, in there already. It's a little combative at first until Amy finally kisses her. And they start to have sex. And again, tip of the cap, because it's this very awkward, like, this is the first time, I don't know if am I doing this right, and blah blah blah. And Amy kind of takes a beat and she grabs one of the cups that's on the like the bathtub.
In fairness to Amy, she had to take a beat because she, as most first timers do, she put her finger in the wrong hole.
Well, yes.
And the other girl was very nice to her too. She's like, "Yeah, I don't think your finger's really where you think it is." And Amy, being neurotic and already just apprehensive about all of this, is just like, "Oh my fucking God. Like, I just stuck my finger dead in your ass."
Yeah.
I can't fucking believe that. And she tries to take a drink to steady herself, and it's just full of the cigarette butts, which been there drunk.
I think if you've been at a party where there's like this many people, and there's there's always at least one cup. There's at least 10 cups that have cigarette butts in them. I know most of the people that I know that have been to a party have done this before. Drunk as hell, you grab the wrong cup, cigarette butt in it. So she takes a swig and she pulls the cigarette out of like the butt out of her mouth.
So gross.
And then she throws up on Hope, which Hope immediately is like, dude, what the fuck, man? This is the one thing that you brought up super bad before. This is the one like super bad moment. Like it's the Jonah Hill moment.
Yeah, the headbutt. And...
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the same thing. And she's like, dude, what the fuck? So Hope jumps in the shower, tells Amy to get out. So Amy finally leaves.
And this was a normal reaction too. Like, if you puked on me today, I would have this reaction. Let alone when I was in high school.
Hell yes.
But Molly here then sees Nick and Ryan together in the kitchen. And she goes to look for Amy, but the cops show up.
Mm.
And Molly leaves with a bunch of the other people because it's like, 5-0. So she goes running out with everybody else. Amy is trapped with her classmates. So she decides to create a diversion so her classmates can escape. And Amy gets arrested.
And this is great too. This is a good arc for her.
Yeah.
Like, she's only known as like this weird protest girl at school. Yeah. She's loosened up, but Molly in this fight called her a fucking coward, which is just ruthless.
That's so mean.
Even if it's true, you don't really call somebody that.
Yeah.
That's just not cool. But anyway, so like her whole thing here is like, I'm not a coward. I'm going to bail everybody out here. And it's such a beautiful arc for her.
Yeah, 100%. And Molly is like walking home. She gets a ride from AAA, one of the classmates from the bathroom earlier, and they bond over like the stereotypes that they both suffered from and rumors. And this scene, first of all, this scene's great.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part about it was she was like, yeah, I really don't like that, the AAA name. And she's like, people talking about like me giving dudes blowies. And she's like, I mean, I did, but like, fuck, like you don't got to just throw it in my face.
Well, I also like how she's like, what am I going to do? Give a guy a blowjob at my house when my dad can walk in at any time? No. Of course I'm going to do it in a car. Yeah. No, that part's great. I like it too because it's one, she's not apologizing for it. She's like, yeah, I fucking suck dick. So what?
Yeah.
But two, I also like where she says, like, I expected the guys to talk shit. I didn't expect it from the girls.
Yeah.
And that was awesome because that is 100% true.
Yeah.
You know a couple guys are going to talk. Most guys, though, really don't.
Yeah.
Like, they don't, like, Armando and I have never discussed our sexual performance with anybody we've ever been with because he doesn't give a fuck. I certainly don't give a fuck.
No.
It's just not interesting to me. How you bang out people. I don't care.
Yeah.
So,
I just automatically assume we're both heroes in bed.
Of course. Of course.
That's how I build us up.
Yeah. My right hand is a fucking to tell you some stories, bro. But like the girls talking shit are usually the ones who spread the rumors and start the slut shaming and really make it awkward. And they would be sucking the same dicks too if they had the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what's I love this scene so much.
Yeah,
it's so
I love that it's both because it softens up as the ride goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "Listen, at Yale in the fall, can you just not refer to me as that? Like I'm trying to do a rebrand here. Like,
yeah."
Can you not do that? And she's like, yeah, totally fine. And then she calls her by her real name. Mm-hmm. And she's like, dude, fuck, not right now. Like,
yeah. Of course. Annabelle.
Fuck, dude, no, not right now.
I'm sorry, that was bad.
Molly wakes up the next day. It's graduation day. She sees on her phone that everyone is talking about how cool Amy was for, getting arrested, allowing everybody else to escape the police. So Molly goes and visits her in jail, apologizes to her, they make up, and Molly reveals that the pizza driver is actually a serial killer, and so they give that information up to get Amy out of jail.
Yep.
So they can get to graduation.
Just once again, like, the best movies, we always complain like, oh, this got tied up in a neat little bow. The best movies do tie it up in a neat little bow. They just do it so well and organically with how the story flows that it just all makes, even with a Wilde movie like this, where you got Gigi popping up everywhere, like, woo, peekaboo, you still have this all tying up, all making sense. Everybody's arc gets filled up, even the pizza delivery guy who was in it for maybe a minute.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I love, circling back to that guy who just popped up, and it's like, oh yeah, I know this guy.
Yep.
Apparently he's a serial killer, and we're gonna turn him in to let you out so we can get to graduation.
Every character with a speaking part in this film has a point to why they are on film.
Yes.
That's good writing.
100%. 100%. But so they take, apparently Molly has Jared's car. So they take Jared's car to graduation, where Molly tells Jared, like, hey, start my speech, which is great because you have the shots of them getting to graduation and just swerving all over the place with his car. You have Jared on stage giving Molly's speech, which is all about, like, I'm a strong, independent woman. And he's literally just reading from her cue cards.
He's great.
He's awesome.
This dude's a great actor. If you haven't seen him in much, check him out in Righteous Gemstones, I think. He plays the oldest son. He's so good in that, too.
He is fantastic in that. I love that show. He's really good in everything he's in. And he plays that, like, really awkward kind of character so well. So well. But he's giving the speech. They show up. They blast through, like, the fence. They show up at graduation. Jared's like, dude, my fucking car, man. They pull out. They run up on stage. Molly kisses Jared on stage and gives this impromptu and quick valedictorian speech. And with that, I'm going to give a don't do that.
Oh, okay.
Haven't done one in a while.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, everybody. Hi, valedictorians. This is how you give your valedictorian speech. Under 3 minutes, get to the point, and get the fuck out. There are some cliches in there. However, this is all very just true to life, and this is who we are, and this is blah, blah, blah. Valedictorian speeches, and I've seen a bunch, they go on far too long. They're far too serious. And you talk about cliche, they're far too cliched. It's like they did a Google search for how many cliches can I put into one valedictorian speech. Oh, yeah. Don't do that. Do it like Molly does in this movie.
Yeah, it's
short, sweet, to the point.
It's super honest, and I like her speech too, because she's finally admitting to everybody that she wasn't. It's not that she thought she was better than anybody else. She was scared of everybody else. Yeah. And that was her defense, was just, I'm putting this wall up and I'm just concentrating, blinders on getting the fuck out of here and moving on. Yeah. So I love that speech. Again, the two gay students steal every scene in this. When Molly and Jared kiss, during Molly's speech, there's constant cuts to them chiming in, and it's fucking perfect. Gigi passed out after playing the classical piano. On top of the piano during the whole thing is great. The whole scene's perfect. I even like the entrance pays off with them crashing through the gate, more so for what Amy's reputation is now. So Molly bringing Amy up on stage, even though has no reason to be up there, and holding her hand up so Amy gets that recognition for saving everybody and getting them to graduation the next day. That's awesome, and an epic entrance for who she now is. All of this is just great. It's very well thought out. Every scene is very intentional.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And it cuts to a few days later. Molly's helping Amy get ready for her trip to Botswana, and Hope shows up. She comes to the door. She gives Amy her panties back and also gives her her phone number. And after
Molly through the window this whole time,
dude,
just like her, like it's so great. Just like they're back to having that best friend support. They had their fight.
Yeah.
All the shit they needed to say for 4 years is out of the way now. And they're just back to being best friends with this new understanding of each other. It's great.
Yes. Now that part's great. And one part that, we skimmed over at the very beginning, they're talking about masturbation. And and Amy reveals that she basically has abused this little panda bear that she's had, the eyes falling off and whatever. And again, it comes back around here because she's packing the panda to take to Botswana with her. And Lisa Kudrow and Will Forte here again. They're like, oh, it's fucking Ling Ling, it's the fucking panda. And they're like, oh, you're bringing her with you. And they're like kissing it and they're doing the thing. And Molly's like, no, like fucking stop. And I noticed there's a shot. It's Will and Lisa Kudrow and Molly's in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's right in the middle of the shot. And you can tell she's like starting to break.
Yeah.
Character and start to laugh. Just the smile on her face, and she keeps looking down as they're like snuggling with the and just bringing that whole thing back around was fucking awesome.
It's so great. The second Lisa Kudrow goes, oh, you're bringing Ling Ling. You don't even see the panda yet. And Molly's eyes bug out of her skull. She's so excited. I love it.
Oh, it was so good. But the movie essentially ends as Molly drives Amy to the airport. As Molly's driving away, Amy jumps in front of the car, asks Molly to get pancakes, and then of course Molly replies with a fuck yeah, and then we get credits. Dude, I enjoy, like, I've seen this a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy this movie every single time.
Yeah, like even the ending of it is so great where it seems really sad and like these best friends are moving on, like in Superbad. Yeah. Like, one's going up the escalator, Seth is just watching him. And in this, like you see them separating and Molly's getting really sad and she's starting to cry and having her moment. Yeah. And then it's like, I don't have to be the first one on the fucking plane. Like, you want to go get pancakes? Fuck yes, I do. It just ends with that, like, like this isn't ending at all.
Yeah, I love how that ends.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, again, me, I don't like big sappy endings and yada yada. Like this whole thing where it does get emotional, but they're just like, oh, okay, so like I'm leaving now. Like there's this very like awkward interaction with them.
Yep.
And then she gets out of the car and you're like, okay, movie's over. And then she jumps in front. It's like, oh, okay, cool. You added one more little funny fucking bit at the very end, and then we get credits. Like that was cool.
It was a nice, subtle way to let all the viewers know that everything's going to be fine with these two.
Yeah, exactly.
We've made you care about them. They're not breaking up. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking year. They're going to go get pancakes right now. And she's probably, let's be honest, she's going to miss her flight. She's not going to Botswana. No, that's not happening. No.
But no, dude, overall, everybody does a great job in this. The cast, I think you said it earlier, that whoever the casting director was, like, it was cast so well across the board. Every single person knew the assignment and they crushed it. It was well written. Everything was done for a reason. Like there was no fat on this thing.
Mm-mm.
Like if you saw something earlier, it was coming back around somewhere later in the fucking movie.
Yep. Whether it was the dude hooking up with Miss Fine, they introduced that at the beginning. They end up hooking up later.
Yeah.
Whatever.
What the fuck? The fucking pizza guy, the panda.
The pizza guy. That's what I was going to say. The pizza guy.
Like, yeah.
Too much weed pre-show.
Again, that, like, everything comes back around. Everything has a purpose. And I dug the movie fucking front to back. Yep. So many similarities to Superbad. But I love all of these, like, high school coming of age comedy. There's so many avenues you could take with it, and there's so many different directions you can go. but I dig all of that. I love this fucking movie.
Yeah, I think what makes this one of my favorites, especially considering I don't really have a necessary connection with the female characters, right?
Yeah.
It's just the fact that they subvert all of the stereotypes. So you don't know really who's a nerd, who's a fucking jock, who's a dick. Like, they're all the same. The guy's going to play soccer at Georgetown. You still have to get really good grades. You can't just be a burnout and play soccer at Georgetown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so everybody has like this duality to them, which is so much more realistic than just like, I'm a jock, I'm Billy Bob. Give me some beer and pizza, motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That shit plays, but it's also, it gets tired real fast.
Yeah.
Especially now. So
yeah, it gives all the characters a little bit more depth.
Yes.
And they're not so one-dimensional.
Well, yeah,
like,
once you find out like Nick's going to Stanford.
Yeah.
A little bit of like what is going to happen between him and Molly goes out the window. Because he's just a normal kid. He's not that jock kind of like, I look good. Like, I'm a jock. Give me your pussy. What do you mean you don't want? You know what I mean? Like, that's where you expect Nick to go. Nowhere close to that.
No, they don't. That's what I liked about this movie. A lot of the characters don't follow the typical stereotype for those.
Like Nick doesn't cheat on Ryan to fuck Molly because he gets to say he fucked the class president. You know what I mean? Like there is none of that drama to it. Nick's just a nice guy.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, I got nothing else to say. I really enjoyed this movie. If you haven't seen it, I think I rented it on Amazon. But it's a good watch if you haven't seen it.
100%.
This one was requested on Patreon by Sybil.
Good job, Sybil.
Yep, we appreciate it. Anything else from you?
No, you guys, the Patreon requests are crushing it. And since we're at the end of the show, I will wrap this up with this. Armando mentioned at the beginning a lot of changes happening on Patreon.
Yeah,
I strongly recommend you at least go over there and check it out. Whether it's the free stuff, you get to review the whole movie review now with movie clips. It's going to be better than what you're going to see on YouTube. The paid stuff, we've changed all of that stuff around. $5 guys, you're invited to the movie watch now. $10 guys, we're getting ready to implement some new stuff to make it a little more fun for you guys and interactive. Patreon is a lot of fun, and we have made some serious changes. So if you looked at it in the past and you're like, fuck them, go back and look now. We're really changing some stuff up on there for all you guys.
Absolutely. And we'll have the link below for the YouTubers. So if they want to go over to Patreon and check it out.
Donde está la Patreon?
La biblioteca.
Boom. Bilingual bitches.
For Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 2019's Booksmart.